Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. I have never had a soda.
Ever?
Never.
Oh, come on, we gotta get one.
I have never in my life had a soda.
Welcome to Startup Stories, a show about demystifying the journey of startups for people trying to get started. I'm your host, John Driscoll. Today I have Ladan Davia with us, founder of Beeya. It's a meta search engine for jobs.
Yes.
Okay. With AI.
Yes.
Sprinkle AI in there?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Gotta get
I got
that
it.
in there.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go.
Should I follow you?
All right, Ladan, you ready for
Okay.
question number one?
I feel like I'm more prepared for that than this.
It's hard to do it at the same time, right?
It's hard in general. This is not,
Okay, where'd you grow up?
Laguna Niguel.
Whoa, local.
Yeah,
Nice.
local Southern California.
Okay, and where'd you go to school?
I went to Chapman.
Chapman,
Undergrad.
okay.
Yeah.
When did you graduate?
2014.
Okay, so that answers the question that everybody wants to ask, which is how old is Ladan?
27.
Wow,
Yeah.
you are a young entrepreneur. How does that feel?
I guess, yeah.
You are. Well, not only did I want to question you because you're so young, but because you've done so well, and honestly, as a modern woman,
Yeah.
just crushing it as an entrepreneur,
Thank
that's
you.
so exciting.
Thank you.
That's great. I have two daughters, so
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
How old are they?
17 and 12.
Yeah, I feel like I wish at 17 I would have known what I wanted to do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't when you're that age, and I wish I could go back and take some of the things I learned now.
Yeah, you're not that old. You're doing fine.
I feel like I feel older than 27.
Okay, so you went to Chapman. What'd you
Yes.
study?
I did broadcast journalism and
Oh.
political science.
So this should be like no sweat for you.
No, it is.
Really?
There's a reason I didn't pursue a career in it.
Okay.
Oops.
So do you come from a long line of entrepreneurs?
My uncle is an amazing entrepreneur. He's
Okay.
In the medical device space. So
Oh,
I
wow.
feel like I watched him growing up and just, something he taught me, oops, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
As
got
I
it,
beat
got
the
it.
cameraman. But something he taught me was starting a business to do good. And I think I always had that in the back of my head. I wanted to do something to help people. Some kind of good purpose from it. Not just necessarily a product, but
Yeah.
a product that, not like a bracelet or,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something more meaningful.
Something more
Yeah,
meaningful that
yeah.
actually changes people's day to day.
Is that why you got into Beeya, or was Beeya your first?
Beeya
Go?
was not my first.
It wasn't.
No. When I was in college, I started a software company with some friends from Berkeley.
Cool.
And that was my first start into tech because I was a TV girl, I wasn't looking to get into tech. I didn't know anything about tech. And so that was really my first introduction to it. And I think we were so young and we didn't know what we were doing.
How old were you at the time?
I just turned 20.
Oh, 20.
Sorry.
Okay, so you did it right out of the gate.
Yeah, we were still in school. But Chapman, I think, really gave me even that chance. They had an entrepreneurship center, and I entered a competition there. We won that competition, and that's how we got funding, incorporated office space for that company. So that was really my first step into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how did it end? Obviously, you ended up moving on.
Yeah, no, it didn't end well. I mean, the team was great. We're still very, very close, but no, the business, the SAT changes. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what the company was. It was a software for the SAT and ACT.
Oh, okay.
And we were right on the edge before the SAT completely changed.
A little early, maybe.
We were, no, I think we would have had to completely change everything
Pivot
to
everything.
adapt to the new SAT, and they actually were getting jobs at Apple and Google, so
Wow.
no one was interested in that anymore.
Yeah, they're
It
like,
just
let's
kinda
go make
died.
some money.
Yeah,
We're tired
we
of
made
struggling.
a little money, but
Yeah. What year did you start Beeya?
2015,
2015.
Yeah.
So it's been,
first year out of college.
gosh, almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're going to year 5.
First year out of college.
Yeah, but we...
So wait, you get out of college and your first thing to do is like, I'm gonna start a company.
No, so I was working in the entertainment industry and I wanted to get out, but I didn't know how. So I started going online looking for jobs.
Oh, you totally killed me right there.
I'm sorry. I feel like we're doing pretty good though.
We are.
Like we're getting it over.
I told you, I knew
That's
you'd be
all
able to
that
do it. Yeah. Where'd the idea for Beeya come from?
So the name was Connect with a K.
That was where you started, Connect.
Yeah,
with a K.
that was the name. The name was
So 5 years
Connect.
ago, it wasn't Beeya.
5 years ago, well, it actually always has been Beeya since actually starting, but the idea was Connect.
Got it.
And I drove past a Connect Pilates studio, and I thought, come on, this is too common of a
Too
word.
close, yeah.
And the SEO was very crowded. The whole thing, Connect was just too common of a word to stand out. So I started thinking of other names, and Beeya in Farsi, I'm half Persian, half Italian, and so in Farsi, Beeya means come here. And so I thought it was just kind of a cool word. It's weird, you know, what is Yahoo? You know, what is Google, what are these words? So
Yeah.
Beeya, it was unique, it was short, it had a meaning to me behind it.
Yeah.
And I liked the community aspect of it. You know, come here, come get a job was my kind of idea. The other thing is my logo, the EEs, I wanted it to represent employer and employee syncing together.
Wow.
You know, finding each other. So it kind of just fell into place.
Loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me like the name so much more when I know what
Really?
it's about.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, it really does. Not that I didn't like it before, I did.
No, but it's you know, you always wonder when you hear the name of a business, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because most people think I run a porn company, so, you know.
I can see that.
You can see that, right?
But it makes you wondering and asking questions.
Absolutely. It's memorable, right?
It's memorable.
Yeah.
Something that will stick in your brain.
Okay, one last question before we stop playing ping pong.
Yeah.
Where does the name Ladan come from? It's so unique. I've never heard it before in my life. Yeah.
Another Persian
Yeah.
word.
Oh, it is?
It is. Do you know the nasturtium flower?
No.
So it's basically the nasturtium flower. That's what it
Oh,
translates
so you're named
to.
after a flower?
I'm named after a flower.
Oh, that's cool.
Actually, no. I am named after, you're the first person I'm going to tell this to.
Really?
The truth is, I'm named after a girl my uncle thought was beautiful in 3rd grade.
Wow.
I'm named after my uncle's 3rd grade crush is essentially where that came from. But it does mean flower. So yeah.
Wow, that
He's like, she was so nice. I'm like, she was like 8. But you don't
And
know
so
her.
he still has a
Hasn't seen her
flame
since
for
3rd
her.
grade, I mean. So she was always nice.
So a lot of people have ideas, but what was the catalyst that got you started on Beeya? Like,
Yeah.
where did it come from? What was that moment?
So, like I was saying before, I was looking for jobs because I wanted to get out of the industry, and I would put my resume on all of these websites and just get like garbage listings. So I thought, how are they coming up with this? And I had a lot of friends at the time also looking for jobs, and nobody could find one. It seemed like everyone was walking. I actually graduated a year early, so by the time I wanted to leave, they were also all graduating, and everyone was in the same boat. No one had a job, but everyone was looking online constantly.
So wait, so you figured I need to find a job. How about I just create jobs for people instead?
So I thought, I need to find a job. This system isn't working. It's not working for me. It's not working for anyone. How do we fix that problem?
Started with a problem.
Started with a problem.
Always does.
It was started with my problem. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's always, I feel like, the best startups when it starts from your own problem.
Yeah, it really was.
All right, Ladan, this is serious stuff.
Okay.
This is the lightning round.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you one thing or the other.
Okay.
And you have to choose. Or you could just argue with me.
Okay.
Which what most people do. Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beer or wine?
Neither.
Neither. Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta represent.
Okay, gotta represent.
You know?
Chicken or steak?
Chicken.
I thought you were gonna say vegan.
You know what? I was gonna say neither again, but
Really?
I didn't want to be difficult.
You didn't want to be. Don't worry, I'm used to it. Okay. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. I have never had a soda.
Ever?
Never.
Oh, come on, we gotta get one.
I have never in my life had a soda.
Ever?
No.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in like a water house. Your options were you can have water.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of stuck.
That's interesting.
Yeah, my mom's a
12-year-old doesn't
dentist.
oh, there you go.
So, you know, actually both my parents were dentists.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that how they met each other?
it was.
Okay.
Dental school.
Wow.
So soda was not going to happen in my house.
Too late for me to go back to dental school.
Yeah, probably. You got a good thing going here.
All right. Okay, heels or flats?
Flats.
Wow, you thought about it though.
Yeah,
right.
flats.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Oh, good. You can say. All right, sparkling or still?
Still.
Okay, ice or no ice?
Ice.
You have to say that, right? You're not European.
Yeah, I guess
That was a European question.
It was at it. I've been
Yeah.
waiting for it.
Thank you for being part of the lightning round.
Oh, that was so easy.
That was it. Yeah, that was easy.
That was
we
good.
didn't.
That was good.
We get to know more about you. I wanted to ask you because you got married this last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to have a personal life as a CEO?
I think that you make time for the things that are important to you.
Okay.
You know, I think that also having somebody who understands that, you know, the business does come first is hard to find.
Yeah.
But that's a big part of it because
How do you have that conversation with him? Like the business
You
comes
know,
first.
We actually never talked about it. It just was.
He just understood who you were.
It just was. You
That's
know,
good.
if there was a conference or I don't know, something that was coming up, I was going to do that. And I didn't apologize for that. It was just, sorry, I have to cancel our plans. I have to go to this.
Yeah.
And we never had arguments about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a really fine line. I've definitely had, you know, relationships, friendships in the past, even friends that don't understand that. I think the friends is actually worse.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I do, because when you are getting to know someone on a romantic level, I feel like you're trying to appease each other. You're trying to understand. You're trying to
yeah.
understand and
Okay.
be accommodating. With friends, you don't necessarily do that. It's you're my girlfriend, you know, who cares? But when I started the company, I was entering a totally different phase. You know, I couldn't go out on a Tuesday anymore. I was doing this. And I think that was very hard for some people to swallow. But again, I think if people aren't with you throughout the whole journey, then they're not,
They don't understand.
they don't understand. And
Yeah.
it's not that they're bad, it's just that you can't take them to the next phase of your life with you.
Sure.
Some people are really good for a phase and they just kind of stay in that phase.
Yeah.
And it's like a good memory, but you're not gonna have them 20 years down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Is it different to be a CEO as a woman?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're treated differently?
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Tell me how.
You know, I hate to say this because it's becoming so cliche, but there is real truth in the amount of time that's wasted with a meeting when you have no intention of taking this seriously on a business level. You just want to go on a date or hang out. And
Oh, you think people actually will...
no, I have experienced this. I think I actually don't even check my LinkedIn anymore because
Wow.
for a while I was getting all these leads, but the leads were not serious.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was, I don't think once I'm in a serious business setting that it's taken that differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you're there and they understand the product, if they want the product, they're gonna buy it. If they don't, they're not gonna buy it. I don't think they look down on it because I'm a woman at all. But I have had a lot of people, they're not actually VCs, but I've had a lot of people
I'll
pretending
fund you.
I'll
Yeah.
fund you, let's get together, let's
Yeah.
go to a play.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, I don't want to go to a play with you
But on VC meetings
Saturday
at a
night.
play.
Like,
Yeah.
either you're gonna fund it or you're not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
fund it, you know?
Truth be told, I've had that
Yeah.
happen in reverse.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I
Yeah.
don't doubt that it
Yeah.
happens.
Not as
but
often,
I do
though,
think
I'm
that
sure.
the
Yeah.
frequency is higher.
Sure.
I do
That's
think
very
that.
real.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
Yeah.
that question. I don't get to ask that question every time,
Yeah.
so I had to do it.
Yeah. Being a female CEO brings such a different, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It brings a level of detail that I don't think male CEOs have. I think women have a lot more empathy
Yeah.
that men, we're not wired the same way.
No, not at all.
And I think as far as being with a team, women, I do think women are better at bringing people maybe together more on a personal level. And when your team is more connected personally, I do think they want to do better for you professionally.
Sure.
So I think it's to an advantage. I've never felt like, oh, I'm a female CEO, so this isn't gonna work.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages on both sides, right? And I think you're right. You're pointing out the advantages. That's such a positive way to look at it because you're really focused on how it's going to help you, not how it's going to hurt you.
Every situation in life, there are positives and there are negatives.
Yeah.
So if you focus on just the negatives, what is that going to do?
Yeah.
You got to focus on the positives and play to those strengths.
Yeah. And your strengths, would you say, is relationships?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Just making
and that's
like,
sometimes a downfall. You know, I think I used to hire. I have had one instance. I'd bring a friend on, and it's like.
I was almost going to ask that question. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Where I think, oh, she's my friend. So, what better person to bring on than a friend? But no, I mean, you don't know your friends in a professional setting.
They're totally different.
They're totally different, and I think that it's my strength and my downfall because sometimes that's not the best thing.
What's your family policy? Do you hire family?
No, but I'm not saying I wouldn't. My sister's an attorney. My brother is an amazing musician, and he actually, I think out of the three of us, he's actually the most successful because he has done this completely on his own and was signed by CAA, which is like the biggest talent agency in the world.
Huge.
So because of his content creation though. So if Tony wanted to come on board for content creation, I would hire him for that.
Wow.
If I needed an attorney, I would consult my sister, but it has never gotten to that point.
Yeah.
They've got their own stuff and.
Good idea. Honestly, it makes Thanksgiving a lot more fun.
It does, and God forbid, the business doesn't go anywhere, then we're all sinking together.
My first startup, I hired everybody I knew.
Yeah, see,
and the entire world worked for me. No, it's funny, I always talk about the business like it's a person and it has these needs.
It does.
Yeah, and if it doesn't get its needs met, everything else is messed up.
Yeah.
So
you have to protect it.
Yeah,
it's like
you really
it's
do.
your family.
Yeah.
It's your lifeline, and would you bring someone on who's not going to protect your family?
Right? Yeah. No, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
So you have this idea to help people to find jobs, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So what's your first step? What do you do after that?
So my first step was write a business plan.
Okay.
That was shameful. I mean, I should frame this because it's embarrassing looking back on it. But that's where I started. I wrote a business plan.
Okay.
I needed to find someone to actually create the code because that was going to be my biggest challenge. So that's a very interesting story because I had gone to the president of my university at the time and asked him if he knew anyone just to start somewhere. He referred me these two students and I was interviewing them and my current CTO.
Okay.
And at the time, I picked those two students. I don't know if I had like a Mark Zuckerberg kind of mentality. I was like, oh, we can keep it like all on a college campus. And those two students ended up stealing $50,000. They never delivered the product after a year.
Wow.
And so, changed emails, changed phone numbers, everything. And so I had to really start all over again and think, is this something I even want to do?
Yeah.
I've never really done a serious business before. This is my first time and look what I've already done.
Sure.
I mean, I've already lost an absurd amount of money and I don't have anything to show for it.
So did you bootstrap that first piece? Did you borrow it? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I raised $200,000 from an angel investor.
Okay.
And that's where I started.
Great.
Yeah. So I think though, looking back, that was one of the best things that ever happened because so many features we have now were because of that incident. And not just that, but I really had to decide, okay, I'm gonna go full in on this because even though the last year was lost, I'm even more committed to it now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really says a lot about that you pushed through because a lot of people after that experience would have completely bailed out.
Yeah.
But you learned that year wasn't lost, right? You learned.
Yeah.
so that you built it better the second time, would you say?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's
It's
funny.
a totally different business than it was going to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you find the CTO. He's currently with you now.
So I go back to the guy I should have hired from the beginning, and yeah, he's still here.
Wow. So with
Yeah.
your tail between your legs.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I told him I was very honest.
Yeah.
Even from the beginning, the one thing I wanted to be when I started the business was transparent.
That's
always. I really wanted to be authentic. I never wanted to, fluff numbers or exaggerate, where we always were. And I think people felt that. Even when I would approach schools to partner or students, it really was always from a very authentic place. It wasn't, we're working with 500 universities when we weren't.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that helped me along the way. So I went back to him and I said, look, this is what happened. It didn't work out. Are you still interested? And he was.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So your MVP, your first product,
Yeah.
how much did it do? Did you keep it trim, or do you feel like you made it too big?
I made it way too big.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Almost
you asked
everybody-
that.
almost
Nobody's ever
everybody
asked
does.
me that, but it's true.
Well,
it was way too
little
big.
experience.
It was way too big. I looked
Yeah.
at it and we were solving all of these problems, but no one was on it.
Yeah.
And we weren't focused on one thing because we were focused on all of these, a big goal of mine after I was stolen from was I want to protect future employers from this happening. There should be some kind of rating system where if you hire someone and they do something like this, if you can prove it, you should be able to rate that and so let other employers know. Okay, well, starting out that way was way too broad. We really needed to tighten it up and start somewhere.
So what was that process like when you went back and you really tightened it up? Did you get rid of features, or what did you do? You actually pulled features out.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I mean, a lot. We started out with an employer portal and an employee portal. And at the time I thought I'm gonna be Groupon. I'm gonna create a marketplace and it's gonna be so easy. And it wasn't. So I thought, how do we onboarded some really big clients in hospitality. But the problem was we didn't have enough people looking for jobs in hospitality. So there was always a demand issue. And these employers would get, rightfully so, upset because they weren't getting any volume. Even if I had 100,000 users at the time, I can't guarantee they're all going to be looking in hospitality. So there was a problem. I was approached by ZipRecruiter, and I always named them because they really changed the course of my business. They approached me to list their jobs with us, and that is what created the business today.
Wow.
It was just that one email they sent me.
One big break.
It was one big break. And I started with Zip, and then I went to other job boards, and soon enough we had 36 million jobs.
Wow.
So that took care of the
supply part.
The supply part.
Yeah.
Now I just had to work on getting the employees on.
Wow.
So once that entire part of the business was solved, I could focus on one part, grow that, and then go back to the employers. But it took a long time to get there because we spent, 1 year was lost, right? Of the learning year. The next year was development, but our, Beeya 1.0 was an unusable product.
Sure.
So, the first iteration was not just too big, but it was also bad. So we had to then scrap that, start over. So we were in year 3 before we even launched.
Wow.
Really, I mean, we had launched, but it wasn't good. So I didn't take it down because I feel like at some point you have to go live. And there were so many things I didn't even think about when we were not live. When we were in a development phase, you don't think about all these little things that can go wrong. And so it was important to leave it live and then make those edits as we were going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, I find that that's the biggest thing is people are always delaying going live because either there's this fear that it's not good enough. I call it app insecurity.
Yeah.
You don't think your app is good enough for the market. But it's when you're in the market that you really learn.
Definitely.
Right.
But it's hard to get there, and I've totally been there.
Yeah.
Where I had poured so much of my life into this. You know, when I started the business, I thought, okay, do I really take a leap and try to start my own company? Because I could take these years and work for a company and, you know, climb that corporate ladder, which I wanted to do. I wasn't afraid of that setting necessarily, or did I want to put that on my own name? And at the time I was 23, so I thought, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I don't have kids, I don't have any real responsibility. If I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it.
Yeah. Did you always picture yourself as being a CEO of a company?
No.
You never saw that?
I knew I wanted to eventually one day start my own thing, but I wanted it to be a nonprofit.
Okay.
It was always a dream of mine, but I thought way down the line, once I had already had some success, I didn't think it was gonna be so soon. It wasn't to be a CEO, if that makes sense. It really was, I had this idea from a problem I was facing. How do I try to solve the problem? And naturally, you're the only person in who's trying, so
sure.
You are the CEO, you know?
You kind of by default, right?
Yeah, by default. Yeah. It really wasn't a thought of, I really want to be CEO. What can I think of to be that?
Talk to me about what it's like being a CEO. I always try to explain this to people who are founders of a startup, how much work you have to do and how your life is essentially different.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Definitely, yeah, I do.
Yeah, like you live a different life than other people. Talk to me about what your day looks like and what's a typical day for Ladan?
It's hard. It's so hard because it's so different. I mean, besides the CEO, you're also the CMO. And you're head of business development, and you are head of social media, you know? In the beginning, you're everything.
Yeah.
So I think that people don't give startup founders enough credit, because even if the business fails, you have learned all of these skills as you go along.
Sure.
So I feel like you really can walk into any job, with exception, and do well, because you've had to do it for yourself already. But yeah, in the beginning, it was really just learning all of that because I hadn't learned any of it before.
Sure.
And in my own personal life, I don't have social media. I mean, I have the pages, but I don't post anything. So the hashtags and content creation was different for me. I had never tackled that before. So I think that was probably one of the things I had the most trouble with.
Wow. I can't imagine being, your age. I didn't start a company that young. I was a lot older when I started my first company. So, what even gives you
I just didn't think about it. It's so crazy because I really didn't think about it.
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. So how do I do that?
Yeah.
And I think things just fell into place over time. It wasn't, if you think about it, it's very overwhelming if you think about everything you have to do. Mm-hmm. But if you take it in steps, it's doable.
It's funny, I think, most things are like that, right?
Yeah.
You can't be overwhelmed by all of it.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, you're at this now 5 years. Let's say it's, I know you're doing well. Let's just say it's a crazy, wild success. Are you gonna keep it forever, or you think you could exit?
I think, there's a price for everything.
Right?
Truthfully,
Sure.
I think there's a price for everything. My goal was never to exit. I really, truthfully, when I started, I thought, this is the solution for this issue. No one else is doing it. Every job board is the same job board with a different logo. That's how I felt. And that's what inspired me to start. It was the keyword matching was not working. And that is why people get faulty matches. So when you throw the AI aspect into it, it creates a sort of accuracy that keywords match don't give. So I really felt like, why would I ever think of an exit plan? Because this is going to
blow up.
And it took a lot longer. It still hasn't blown up in the way that I would like it to, but I think it's on its way there. I think everything has a time and everything has a price. If I got an amazing opportunity to partner with someone, I think I would take it.
Well, Ladan, thanks for coming here, being a part of Startup Stories. I've been super wanting to hear your story, and it's been, awesome. So,
Oh, thanks for having me.
yeah, I'd love to maybe have you back, hear the other part of the story at some point.
I feel like I'm not going to leave. We've had so much fun.
I know, right?
It wasn't really an interview.
Well, thanks for coming to Startup Stories. All I would just say is if you are thinking about starting an app or a technology startup, start today. You are astonishing. Don't waste it. That's a quote by Seth Godin. Don't waste it. Get started. Thank you.